KGAB Mornings with Gary Freeman on AM 650 KGAB.
And good morning, 8:14 is your time here on AM 650 KGAB and KGAB.com. Under sunny skies here in the capital city. Glad to have you aboard with us on a Monday. We're going to get through it, I guarantee you, and to make things a little bit easier. We have some people that are running for all kinds of offices, not just here in Laramie County 1, but throughout the county, throughout the state. And in studio with us, we have here Dr. Taylor Haynes. Doctor, welcome to the program today.
Morning, Gary. Thanks for having me.
So you're running for governor.
You bet.
Let's start there.
All right. I am running for governor. I've watched the state lose 1,700-plus jobs in the coal mining industry, and I see the war on coal being successful nationwide. I see that as an opportunity for Wyoming because we have a variety of energy sources, and coal is king in Wyoming, and it will remain king. I see the EPA is out of control, and they're trying to change the boundaries in Riverton, and they're attacking a welder and his family in Uintah County. I had dinner with those folks and went over their project. It was clean, just by the numbers, by the book, and the EPA has no authority to do that.
So what role is, if I may interrupt you,
sure.
What role as governor are you going to do to kind of dismiss the EPA, and what repercussion could it have on the state?
Let's take the second part first. No repercussion. That battle has already been fought in court 7 or 8 times, and there are 2 excellent Supreme Court decisions in our favor already. First one is New York versus the United States, 1992, and then Mac Prince, P-R-I-N-T-Z, versus the United States, 1997, where the EPA, other federal agencies have no authority to act, to do, to enforce anything in the state unless the elected officials sworn to uphold the Constitution roll over. So
right,
we
very
just
good.
sweep them out of here.
So we send them packing.
Send them packing.
And they need to be sent packing. And so it sounds like, Governor, you're not doing this just to make a point. You are doing it because it's best for our state.
It's best for our state.
But let's face the facts. It's also going to maybe set a precedence that other states can do the same thing.
And I've been contacted unofficially by some officials in other states just to that point. They want to follow our lead. I says, well, why don't you guys just do it? I'm not in office. They says, no, you need to win and keep your word, and then we'll follow your lead. Well, fine. They can follow our lead because I'm going to do that. It saves our state, but you see, it saves me, my ranching business, my TPA business, and my entrepreneurial efforts then can be done in a free enterprise environment. I will have our producers encouraged to build power plants here, and we'll sell power across the country. Build refineries here because we have the resources. We have coal, oil, gas. We have coal gasification as a possibility. We can make diesel from coal. The Germans did it during World War II. I have a background in engineering, mining with Kennecott, in medicine and in healthcare, and also as a rancher. And I've been in the leadership of every organization I've ever been affiliated with.
Have you had any of the leaders from the coal industry here in Wyoming contact you and say, we like your ideas, or do they like the way things are right now?
Mixed bag. They're not sure because they don't know the Constitution of what will happen. They're waiting to see. I have had mid-level management say, hey, we're all for that, and we hope you'll do it. They have lots and lots of regulatory issues that don't make any sense, as do some ranchers and farmers and highway pavers. Let me give you an example of unreasonable regulation.
Okay.
I'm a small rancher, as you know, 300-400 cattle. And I've got a rancher in the Powder River Basin about the same size, but he's blessed with some gravel on his ranch, not enough to be a highway paver, but he can sell it for ornamental uses around Wright, Gillette, and Bill, and places like that. They shut him down because he didn't have a porta potty at the gravel pit.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And then there's a very large operator who spent now probably nearly $500,000 trying to permit a gravel pit in the Red Desert. So how many jobs are we talking that are lost? How much commerce is just trashed with unreasonable regulation? So that's an area where I have a lot of managerial and technical expertise, and so I'll have a staff that will streamline regulations and make us truly business friendly.
All right, we're talking with Dr. Taylor Haynes. He is running for the governor of the great state of Wyoming. We're going to take a break. If you have a question for Dr. Haynes, you can certainly give us a call here at 632-6500 or 632-3323. Ask him the tough questions. He wants them, right? Right. All right, we'll be back after this. And 8:24 is your time here on KGAB Mornings. I'm your host, Gary Freeman, under a sunny sky here at the capital city. We are so thankful for that. We might get a little bit of rain a little bit later on, so keep your eye on that. We are in studio here with Dr. Taylor Haynes, who is running for the governor of the great state of Wyoming. And as we promised, we'll take some of your phone calls. We will go right to the phones this morning. Good morning. It's your turn with Dr. Haynes.
Good morning, Dr. Haynes. This is Charlie from the South Side. I met you a couple months ago at one of the town halls there.
Yeah, good morning, Charlie.
We spoke just briefly, but I'm working with Mike Tuttle to try to get him elected as a constitutional sheriff. Some questions I have for you, and I'm going to also have these for Cindy Hill. The federal government's got their nose in every aspect of our life. I mean, when you go down to get a driver's license, that little camera there to your left, they're taking a facial recognition, they're taking a voice print. And from what I heard over the weekend on one of these news outlets, said that one of these things they're finding out about Obamacare is that supposedly the whole country is going to be forced to go onto Obamacare, and if you refuse, they're going to take your driver's license. But as a governor, I mean, I know you're a constitutionalist, and I appreciate that, and God love you for it. But I want to know, as governor, what you're going to do to kick out Obamacare, to stop this real ID crap they're doing over there. I mean, they've gone crazy. Like the IRS, as they come over, they're an outside entity. They do not, they don't do the rules according to the State Registration Act on any kind of liens. They do fake liens on the county recorder, but they don't file at the Secretary of State as required by law. And all these, there are no liens, from what I understand. It's all fake. There's all kinds of things. Our home assessments, when they assess property, they don't do it on market value. They do it on what it costs to rebuild your house if it burns down. To me, that's fraud.
Well, it is fraud. There are many ills, and so you got to solve the big problems first. First, your question about real ID and federal intrusion. Well, we will stop federal intrusion using not only the Constitution but already settled constitutional case law. So first, you start with your sheriffs. As the highest law enforcement officials in each county, and we're having a constitutional class for sheriffs, president of each county commission, speaker of the House, president of the Senate, the leader for the Wyoming Highway Patrol, which is the governor's police force, and any other elected officials who want to attend. And we're going to do two things in this class, and I'm not going to teach it, I'm going to take it so that I'm not talking down to people. You're going to understand the power in the oath that you take to uphold and defend the Constitution for the United States. Then the next thing you're going to understand is the culpability you incur when you take that oath if you don't uphold it under Title 18 U.S. 2381 and other statutes that specifically speak to public officials who take the oath and then don't uphold it. And once everybody understands that they not only have certain authority but culpability, then I'll be able to get the sheriffs to enforce the laws in their counties, to stop federal officials from acting like police in Wyoming where they have no authority. So that's the first place you start. And then fixing our economy will solve some of these problems. We'll solve some of these problems so that by doing that, we get ourselves on a constitutional footing. The other things you're talking about, fraud and recording and in liens and so forth, then that'll flow through as we have the common law grand juries and we have a constitutional form of government on the ground.
Talk about a common law grand jury for people that may not know.
A common law grand jury has it hasn't been outlawed, but it's sort of slipped into non-use, where the people and the jury, and in fact all juries had a power and the duty, not only to try the facts of a given case, but try the validity of a law that applies to the case, and they can declare that law doesn't apply to this case, or that this person and the person is innocent, or vice versa, and the person is guilty. So that's being worked on, and Judge Napolitano and actually Judge Antonin Scalia has said that we need to bring those back.
All right, let's take another phone call. Good morning. You are on with Dr. Taylor Haynes.
Taylor, this is Doran.
Hi, Doran. How are you?
Well, I'm old. How are you?
Good. So you're blessed. That's a blessing.
Yeah,
a long life is a blessing, Doran.
Okay. Hey, listen, our road system is the only means of transportation into every nook and cranny of this state. And the highway department and the counties are confronted with diminishing funds to maintain this highway system. What would you do about it? And I'll hang up and listen.
Excellent question, Doran. Thank you. Well, when we take over the state under the Constitution, we take over 100% of the property in the state, and that means 100% of our mineral wealth. So we will have additional funds to apply to our roads. One of the things I will do, I will make certain that any fuel tax that is collected is spent for maintenance of the roads and no other special projects.
Well, we know you'll have plenty of that because Matt Mead, as promised, said he felt like he had to raise the fuels tax and here in the state of Wyoming, and that was accomplished here not too long ago.
I certainly disagreed with that, and as it turned out, the money went other directions rather than to road repair. When we take over all of our mineral wealth, we'll have the money to repair our roads. That's a very important thing, and I know from traveling the state in this campaign that Doran is on the ball about how much work there is needed.
All right, we're going to have him stick around for another segment because we're trying to give everybody 30 minutes. So stick it right here. Keep it right here on AM 650 KGAB. We will be taking more of your phone calls. If you want to stick around, you may do that. Or if you want to call in, 632-6500 or 632-3323. We'll be back after this. Good morning. Hey, good morning. 8:41 is your time here on AM 650 KGAB and KGAB.com. Under sunny skies here, Cheyenne. It's going to be a great day, and if you don't think it is, make it a great day. I had somebody ask me one time, how's the day treating you? And I said, you mean how am I treating the day? And they said, oh, good point. I said, if I wait around for the day to treat me, I'm going to be disappointed. But I'm definitely not disappointed here with our guest that's here in studio with us, Dr. Taylor Haynes. He is running for the governor of the great state of Wyoming. Doc, welcome back to the program.
Fe's, Gary. Great to be here.
All right. We got a caller here who wants to ask you a question. Here
All
you
right,
go.
lay it on me.
It's your turn.
Good morning, Dr. Haynes. I've got a few things for you, and then I'll hang up and listen.
All righty.
First off, just real quick on the porta potty issue with the job site. That's something that workers and unions fought hard just so anybody that's out there working has something. That's
Okay.
just one of the laws that's there. But aside from that, I love living in Wyoming. We've got great, resources. What, if we boot the EPA and we start building everything, that's great. But what if the restrictions from the other states keep us from being able to export via either power lines or
Pipelines or rail lines or whatever. Yeah, I've got a plan for that.
Okay, and then after that, what are we going to do to increase the funding for game and fish? Because that's an agency that we all know needs a whole lot more, agents and a lot more, needs to be seen a lot more. Then the third thing, Wyoming is known as the equality state. We do recognize when gay and lesbian couples are married in other states, we'll recognize their marriage here. What are you going to do to fight for their equality too, to allow them to also have the marriage? I'll hang up and listen. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, let's take your first point first about facilities at the job site. This rancher is the only person on his ranch. It's his job site, it's his ranch, it's his decision, it's his right to do it any way he chooses. And the government, no one else has any right to tell him what he needs as far as a facility. If he had employees, that's a whole different issue. In this case, he didn't. So that's my point there. Now, as far as being an export state, I recognize that. We are an export state. But I've already got things in the works, the relationships we need so that we can sell our products. When we can sell our products nationwide, we'll be fine and we'll be strong. At one point, we produced 20% of the nation's electric power. Now, my goal is to get us to between 50 and 60% of the nation's electric power. And we've got tens of millions of voters who want that cheap, dependable electric power. Otherwise, it's going to be cold and dark in Cleveland in the winter and hot and dark in the desert Southwest. So I think we've got the political clout in our market to get our products to wherever we need to go. And the third point you made about the game and fish funding, I'm not going to do anything to increase game and fish funding. I'm going to shape their mission up to be game and fish. They have too many projects unrelated to game and fish so that their mission outstrips the budget that they have. So we're going to reshape their mission to fit the needs of this state, and they'll be funded very well to accomplish that mission and everything they need. And your fourth question, I forgot. gay and lesbian marriage. Well, under the First Amendment of the Constitution, we can associate with whomever we choose in any way we choose, so they can already get married. If your point is a marriage license, that's a 14th Amendment question. And if you're going to ask the state for a license and to sanction any activity, then you've converted your constitutional right to go ahead and do that to a privilege. Once you convert your constitutional right to a privilege, you have to meet whatever requirement the state sets for everyone else to enjoy that privilege. And that requirement in the case of marriage is one man and one woman. We're not stopping them from being married. We're not giving them a marriage license because they can't meet the requirement to get the privilege.
All right, we got time for one more quick question. If you keep it short, we'll leave you on. Good morning. It's your turn.
Morning, Taylor. This is a quick question. Since our number 2 industry in the state is tourism, how did you feel and how would you react in a situation where the government shuts down, closing Teton and Yellowstone National Parks with tons of people already there? Would you have supported with state funding to keep those parks open?
Well, you need to understand, under the Constitution, when I take over the state, I take over every square inch. There are no federal land managers. There's no Park Service. There's no BLM. There's no Fish and Wildlife Service. There's no Forest Service. So that would be a state park, and it's going to be open 24/7 year-round, and we're going to treat our guests much better than they're being treated now.
So does that mean you're going to hire our own people to take care of that? Because I think why a lot of states, Doctor, have turned over to the BLM is they feel like they can't maintain that part of the park.
We will hire the staff that we need, and some of those folks that work for the Park Service now will be invited to work for Wyoming, but they'll have to work as Wyoming people.
I'm going to squeeze one more phone call in. Quickly, go ahead. It's your turn.
Good morning. We have a big problem here. The federal government is coming into the state and exercising police powers. As I understand the federal constitution, the state constitution, the only ones that have police power in the state are Wyoming police officers. That would be the sheriff, the highway patrol, the
okay.
Well, police.
What's your question for the doctor?
What can we do to end this nonsense?
We issue a cease and desist and have our sheriffs as the chief law enforcement officer in each county enforce that, and the governor will back the sheriff up. It's pretty simple.
All right, Dr. Taylor Haynes, any final words for the listening audience this morning? Are you going to be doing anything here in Laramie County? Any meetings that we can go to? And
We've had a meet and greet, and we're setting up a couple things, and certainly we'll be at the event on June 5th, the meet and greet and question and answer period.
Cheyenne Hills,
Cheyenne Hills Baptist Church, or Cheyenne Hills Church.
Cheyenne Hills Church.
Cheyenne Hills Church. We'll be there. Now, go to my website, haynesforgovernor.com, and you can see my position on other issues that weren't asked on the program, and we ask for your prayers and your political support, and we ask you to check the candidates out very carefully, background, credentials, and life body of work.
All right, Dr. Taylor Haynes, thanks for coming in, and we appreciate you sticking your neck on the chopping block to run as we do all the candidates. You're listening to AM 650 KGAB and KGAB.com. 8:47 is your time. Good morning.